The arrest of a popular YouTube mom known for her strict parenting style.
And my kids are literally starving.
We talked about this yesterday. This is the woman that had this channel, 8 passengers, had over 2 million subscribers.
I'm only gonna say it one more time and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months.
Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
These neighbors have been seeing it going on for years.
I've been a masterful manipulator.
For the first time, we're hearing 911 responders and their horrifying descriptions of that child.
Female does have duct tape around each ankle. He's not telling the RP why.
My daughter was saying her prayers. Eve, she was 6 years old at the time, and she said the cutest thing. I thought it was so cute. Dear Heavenly Father, please help me to survive.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is phenomenal to see you here again today. Now, I know it's under negative pretenses, but it's always phenomenal to have you stop here by the channel. Unless you're new, then it's absolutely phenomenal to have you here again for the very first time. I'm gonna get introductions out of the way real quick because it's probably gonna be a bit of a long video. I'm not too sure. I didn't want to just add it in super late. So hi, my name's Wonder. It's super great to have you here today. And without further ado, let's get right into the context of this entire video. And I just spilled coffee on me, so what a great way to start this off. So the other night I was browsing around online and I came across an article as it was happening. I believe it had happened 3 or 4 hours prior. I was in the middle of editing a video, so that's why I got pushed on about a channel called 8 Passengers. Now, I've personally never heard of this channel before, but it's a family channel, family vlog, very massive and also very disastrous and disgusting behind the scenes, which unfortunately is pretty predictable with a lot of family channels when you profit off children. So we have a woman here named Ruby Franke who was arrested for various charges after her child named Russell escaped from her home, or actually it wasn't her home, escaped from a neighbor's home who was in on the whole thing, to my understanding, and then ran over to a neighbor's home where he was discovered to be very much underweight, very sick, and had deep wounds on his body where he had been duct taped. It's a disgusting situation. It was so bad that the boy had to be hospitalized, and once the police went to the home to investigate after they got a search warrant because the whole ordeal blew really wide open, there was another child who was in such bad shape that they also too were taken to a hospital. Now, ironically enough, this woman was, her entire niche of her channel was family vlogs, but also giving advice on how to be a good parent. And she comes across, as we'll find out, as very egotistical, very wrapped in her head, especially because in the article from USA Today, she goes on to say that when people visited her home, because this isn't the first time she's been in controversy, which we will also be getting into because we're going to go through all the controversies and show really how we led up to this point in time. She said that the workers who came to visit her home, they just were so infatuated that they too asked for how to be a great mother. Typically that doesn't happen in reality when someone comes to visit your home over concern of your children. Now, so far only 2 people have been charged in this matter. There was Jody, and the last name it keeps slipping my mind, but it's on screen, and we obviously have the main perpetrator named Ruby Franke. Now, the husband for some reason isn't being charged. I believe his name's Kevin. It just kind of blows my mind because there's no way that this guy didn't know what was going on. I mean, what we're gonna see here later, one of these kids was sleeping on the floor because his bedroom had been revoked and he was sleeping on the floor for 8 months. There's no way you can deny that in your home you didn't see that your child was actively being neglected and punished extremely unfairly. I just don't know how you plausibly play into that, like, I didn't see it happen, officer. I stupid. I'm dumb. Now, running the risk of sounding redundant with the details I've already given, we need to ask ourselves the question of how did we get here? Was this just a random occurrence? Were there signs beforehand? The answer is absolutely yes. Again, it is a situation where time and time again there are red flags that pop up and they fly under the radar until it is way too late and somebody is harmed or worse. So today I've gathered and I've collected a bunch of clips prior and controversies. I mean, the controversies are so bad that when I looked up this family, they appeared as the first slot on a top 10 family channels with controversy. And the reason for that is because this woman openly has bragged for years about starving her children and all kinds of neglect as if it is just a trophy talking point. So before we hop into that, I do want to ask one favor of you. I'm sure you already know. If you could drop a like and subscribe down below, it would really help out the channel, and also comment your thoughts down because it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into why you're here. My name's Wonder, and let's discuss Ruby Franke of the 8 Passengers family.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months, and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in the suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, he was like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on.
Do you think it's funny? Because
And then I walk out.
if you think it's funny, then that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not funny.
Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom. But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room. Abby, we took the phone away from Abby in November. And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
You can play with friends.
No, like I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either. I don't even know where they live. They're pretty far away.
So, summer goal, become the best athlete I possibly can.
All right, so the first clip we have, I believe it dates back to 2020, and this is where Ruby Frank and 8 Passengers family really picked up a little bit in the controversy where people were raising their monocles. They're like, what the f is going on here, man? So we start off with a kid over here named Chad. I believe he's in his early teens, late teens, and he brought up just out of nowhere that he hadn't had a room in roughly 6 to 7 months, and the mom was like, haha, honey, we haven't really told them about that. Man, she watches this kid like a hawk, word for word, to make sure what he says does not make her look bad. You can see it in the facial expressions, man. It is creepy how she goes from talking, I guess you could say, happy, whatever defines a succubus being happy. You can just see she's watching word for word what he's saying. And he has to reiterate the awful prank he did to lose privacy, which I need to reiterate that losing privacy in your teen years, I mean, it's already bad enough no matter what age, but your teen years are where you're wanting to be private. You're wanting to keep that space to yourself. So to actively rip privacy away for such a brother prank. So again, the prank was he literally just got his brother up, said, we're going to Disneyland. And the kid got super hyped and he was like, oh, we're actually not going to Disneyland. It's mean. But dude, being the younger brother, it's like your birthright to just get memed on by your older brother. It's just what you do. That's just older brother behavior. I had my brother one time when I was younger and he said, dude, there's something really cool in the trash can. So we had a really tall, massive trash can. So I hopped in and then he just left. Yeah, I was mad at the time, but it's chalked up to just brothers being brothers, man. You know, that sounds, brothers being brothers, but that's the reality, man. It's not something you take someone's privacy away for 7 months, man. She thought it was funny. She thought it was brothers being brothers.
To Disneyland and he has to pack and he got up.
But somebody dared, stepped on the way she runs the household, the way that she wants her kids to be. Somebody questioned that. And when you have like a matriarch type household like this, it is like the worst thing you can ever do. She goes on to say, you know, you think it's still funny, you know, despite me literally just laughing at it 2 seconds ago. You think it's so funny. Perhaps 7 months wasn't long enough.
That was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
This kid shuts down. That is not a healthy reaction. That is the reaction of someone who is very fearful of the parental guidance that they have next to them. The other part of this clip that's extremely tragic is she turns to her other kid. I guess she's just showing off her trophy of punishments. She's like, yeah, you know, you might not ever get your phone again. And she's like, yeah, I probably won't ever get my phone again. And she says, oh, you can hang out with your friends. And both kids say, we don't have friends, mom. We literally don't have friends. I cannot explain how developmentally important it is to have friends when you are younger, to have social lives, and to let kids be kids. This is just the tip of the iceberg. All right, now this next clip is, it's so hard, man. It's so hard. I'm just gonna give a little bit of a warning. Already, it sucks. Nobody wants to see this happen to kids, but if you have like a soft spot for like the really little ones, like the 3 to 5 year olds, man, this next clip is very hard to watch.
If you cut one more thing in my house, I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm gonna cut its head off.
Grandma will be so mad.
So what are you gonna do?
Are you gonna cut anything else? No.
You promise? Look at mama.
Yeah, so the child, the 3 to 5 year old, I believe this is a kindergartner. I can't really confirm that, but there's mentions of a kindergartner throughout news reports and all kinds of stuff like that. And also some of these other clips here, unfortunately. We'll just say for the sake of this is probably a kindergartner, if not a 3 to 5 year old. So this kid went around taking safety scissors and they were cutting stuff. It's something really easy to solve. So the mom's reaction is to take a beloved stuffed animal and say, oh, well, if you do this again, I'm I'm going to disembowel your stuffed animal. Now, I don't know how many of you had stuffed animals as a kid, but for a lot of kids, stuffed animals feel like very real friends. I had a monkey named Nannies when I was a kid, who was my homie. And I have Blinky. Blinky and I go way back. Blinky's an OG. If my mom was like, oh, you acted up today, so I set Blinky on fire with 10 gallons of gasoline, that would haunt me. I'd feel like I just watched a friend get yoinked by the cartel. This is like some mob boss behavior, like, you acting up, your loved ones might have to pay the ultimate price. Dude, and then the kid starts crying. They just like, do you feel like a good mom? Do you feel like a really good mom when you're like, yeah, dude, I just made my daughter sob. Hope she learned her lesson. I know this is unprofessional to say, but you sick fuck, man. Now, I've seen a couple channels talk about this next clip. It's where she brags about her 5-year-old daughter. It's just wild to say out loud. Where she brags about how her daughter forgot to pack lunch. 5 years old, man. Something adults to this day, myself included, forget to do. And how her punishment should always be to go hungry. It gets so bad the teachers start calling. Mother of the year, you piece of shit.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher. She said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry, and hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like one of the posters from Target just hopped down and just confessed to me all their crimes of being a horrible parent. So I love how she's like, I think it's very uncomfortable that the teacher would be concerned about this. Like, oh, you think someone who works with children would be a little bit uncomfortable that when they contact a mom and say, hey, the kid doesn't have lunch today. The kid that is your responsibility does not have food. What's that all about? Thankfully, this teacher is a decent human being from the sounds of it. If they're calling the mom to be like, hey, why does your child not have food for lunch, given that it is a basic human right to eat? That is a very reasonable thing. You are insane if you think that anyone, like if we were to take a sample size of 100 people, I would hope 100 out of 100 people would say that is very wrong to do to a child. What's the lesson, man? Oh, your 5-year-old daughter, who's still probably excited by the sight of ladybugs on the ground and digging worms out of dirt, you know, forgot to pack a Michelin star meal. My goofy child is, I didn't raise this. What is the expectation? They are a child, man. They have been on this planet for 5 years, and you're expecting them to have this insane level of ability to just take care of themselves all the time. It's not even a screw up. If your child forgets to pack lunch, you want to know what you do? I mean, you're a family channel making a damn large amount of money. Uber some food, or be like, oh my God, sweetheart, I'm really sorry about this. Let me teach you how to make breakfast in the morning in a really simple way. Or you could turn it into a sweet afternoon activity when they come home, like, hey, I'm going to teach you a home ec skill where you can learn how to make food the night before so you have food the next day. It is not that hard to connect with children. I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but it is not that hard to consider what a child might find educational in a way that benefits them. Punishing a child and revoking basic needs and food, man, it makes me so mad. So then to turn around and say, yeah, I hope no one gives them food. What is wrong with you? You hope that no one goes and tries to do a good act to your child to teach them a lesson? What's the lesson, man? What's the lesson here? But on this ice cream of disappointment, what if we topped it off with a cherry of even more disappointment? I bet you're so excited to see that. We have yet another clip of an admission of guilt where she's like, haha, oh, let me get my camera out. Let me make sure that this one gets to the tube. Hi guys, so my son Russell, the one who escaped with duct tape on him, is asking for food, and he's like so silly. I think he's gonna cry. Makes me piss, boils the blood a little bit. Also, just a disclaimer, for the only source I could find of this video, high audio pitched, so forgive me for that, but let's just bear through it.
Sorry to tell you this, honey, but unless you find a friend who's willing to share some of their food with you, I don't think you're gonna be able to eat. But if you're not responsible for your lunch and your lunch money, that's the natural consequence, and I'm really sorry you're learning this the hard way. I will have a wonderful, yummy snack Just hang in there today and just make up your mind. You're going to be really careful and make sure you grab your stuff when you go to school next time. And maybe you have a good friend who will share some of their sandwich with you or something. Russell, I'm really sorry. He sounded like he was going to cry.
I'm really sorry you're learning the hard way.
This kid is a child. Again, it's like that. I hope no one feeds you. This is your fault. How could you dare ask for food? Hey, could you want food? What a quirky little vlog. My child is so hungry. He needs to learn a lesson. Again, what's the lesson here? Oh, my mom's a horrible person? Well received. Yeah, you're really telling me that Child Protective Services agents rolled up to your house and were like, how do you do it? Like, how do you run this place? You're such a good mother. It is insane.
A year ago, my daughter was saying her prayers. Eve, she was 6 years old at the time. And she was saying her prayers and she said the cutest thing. I thought it was so cute. And I started laughing. She said, "Dear Heavenly Father, please help me to survive." That was an experience for her.
Yeah, so the daughter, her wish to God, just wanted up St. Nicholas over here, old Santa Claus, to get out the way. I need the big man to prove this one. Her gift was that she survives, and the mom went and bragged about this. What makes this so bad is the fact that the mom laughed. She thought it was funny. So the kid in their head, they had to sit there and think about how they asked for one thing. They wanted to survive, man. They wanted to survive the awfulness that went on in that household. They lived in torment, man. I cannot imagine how that felt for that kid. It is like the worst thing you could do as a mom. If you ever heard your kids say that, you need to get to the source of this. You need to involve family counseling. I've been sounding very dramatic to this whole video, but I have such a soft spot for the people who are in bad situations like this, because you're so defenseless, dude. When you're a kid, like, what can you do? You can't run away from home because you're truancy. You get punished by law for that. You know, you gotta hope that someone will listen to you, but all the time it doesn't happen. How do you get to this point as a parent? All right, so we've come full circle. Those are some clips that have all led up to this point in the arrest. To give a bit of a recap, Russell, who's the kid, I believe he's like 9. I want to say he's 9. He escaped from a neighbor. So this neighbor's name is Jody. This kid broke free from her house. Okay, so we're gonna listen to a 911 call, and in it's a little bit disturbing, obviously, because it's a 911 call. Things like that you don't really sit there with like some lemon and tea, like, oh boy, this is interesting. But the kid is so scared that he doesn't even want the police involved.
Markie said a 12-year-old male showed up with tape around his legs Thursday asking for help, said he was afraid asking for police.
Copy 17.
Deborah, he gave the name of Russell Franke, unknown date of birth, or he did give us a date of birth, but I'm not showing any Russells and Spillman. I'll keep looking into that. The RP said he left through the porch of the neighbor's house. Sample break 12x11 and 17 just 1014. The male does have duct tape around each ankle. He's not telling the RP why, and said that there's sores around his wrists and ankles. He's becoming, or correction, the RP is becoming emotional regarding the child's health. Sorry, the RP said that he left from a neighbor's of Jody Hildebrand. When asking the RP's parents info, he said his mom is Ruby Franke, unknown where she lives.
So on the 911 call, you can hear that someone has found this kid, and I believe what's going on here is someone's talking to the officer. I think they have an officer at the scene, and they're talking with a neighbor that found the kid, and they said the kid is in such bad shape that the dude who found the kid, he himself is getting emotional, because just seeing a kid like that, he's just reasonably shocked the man a bit, you know. But it's so bad to think that this dude found a kid in such bad shape that even the police had to calm down the person who didn't escape. That's how bad it was. The cops, of course, state that the kid's name is Russell.
Give the name of Russell Franke.
And they don't want police involved because this kid, I would presume, is scared. He doesn't want the cops to come over because he probably did something so menial and so innocent of a child that imagine what he thinks the consequences of a police officer showing up to his family's home would be. There's no way this kid would be totally chill with the police coming to his house. This kid's thinking he's gonna get in trouble for wanting to be safe. That's what this family has done to this kid. And again, as I mentioned prior, when the police showed up and they arrested Ruby and Jody, they went into the home and they found that a kid was also in such a bad condition that he also had to be hospitalized. According to the article from USA Today, what the kid asked for was for food and water. He was starving, man. How do we get this to this point that this is something that can reasonably go through someone's head? Now let's talk about what comes next for Ruby and for Jody. In a situation like this, I looked it up. I believe believe in Utah where this took place. The fine is, I believe it's $10,000 per child that was endangered, which that's really like a slap on the wrist for like a 2 million sub channel. That's like pocket change. But the big kicker here is that they could face up to 15 years. And honestly, with a situation like this, I feel like that's way too little. You endangered so many kids, man. You put them in literal hell. 15 years? I don't know, man. I'm thinking in a situation like this, you lock it and you just toss the key. Now, I want to backtrack to the family members, the sisters of Ruby, who said that they wanted to help the children by remaining silent. I really want to hone in. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I really want to hone in. Excuse my language here. How much of bullshit that is. How did you help these kids? How did you actually help these kids? I'm not too sure. This could be one of the kids, because I know some of the kids have come forward and talked about how they, for years themselves, had tried to get authorities involved and cried for help, and the police didn't even listen to them. The people they needed to protect them as children did not listen. Surprise, surprise. The judicial system failed kids yet again. But they talk about how this needed to happen for 3 years. I'm like, all right, let's try to mentally understand this. Now, I don't know their exact situation. I don't know fully what they mean by this. Maybe it's just god-awful wording. But when you say you knew this was going on for 3 years and you thought the best option was to remain silent, how are you helping those kids? How can you just casually be like, yep, justice was served. Yeah, we've been waiting 3 years for this. We didn't say anything. But yeah, I'm just really happy it finally happened. Cheers to me. I don't know, man. In a situation like that, I feel like you're just as culpable. I mean, it's like you see something and you don't say anything type aspect. These are like your nephews and nieces, man. Like, you were just so cool with that going on, and you thought the best way to protect them was to be silent. These children were unironically failed in every possible way. They were failed in their childhood. They were failed by their mom and dad. They were failed by their loved ones. They were failed by police. They were failed by any sort of justice system set in place for children. These kids were completely failed. So a mom selfishly could make content on YouTube and make the entire world and her channel about herself and how great of a mom she is. So she can preach to all kinds of moms how much of a wonderful person she is. She used these children to inflate her ego in the most disgusting way and used them to profit. These kids were beyond failed. And I really hope these kids are able to just move past this in their life, get the help they need, probably get, into a safe home. I know that's such a dark situation, but not all hope is lost for these kids. I really hope these kids are able to grow and become the people that they deserve to be. They deserve privacy. They deserve respect. They deserve food and water. I don't even know why I should have to explain that to someone. I really do hope the best for these kids. I hope they all make a speedy recovery. Again, very twisted situation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how long this video turned out. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you staying here with me. Again, I know I was a bit emotional in this kind of video, but it's such a soft spot for me. I have such a soft spot for people who are in situations like this. Really, it just kind of like lights a flare inside of me. So I appreciate you putting up with that. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe down below, as it absolutely helps out the channel. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. So again, I want to hear your thoughts down below. I want to chat. I want to discuss. I want to hear what you think of the situation. I want to see some insights. So if you could leave that down below, I'd really appreciate that. So again, once more, my name's Wonder. Super great to have you here. I'm really looking forward to see you guys around on the channel. But yeah, I feel like I've dragged this outro long enough. I'm going to go play some paddle bit with some friends, really try to tone down from the situation. You guys go take care of yourself, do something nice, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care and farewell.